here now. It's freezing. I made a vitamin that combined all those three into one in the yellow bottles, and it'll be a lot cheaper for you guys. And I was able to adjust and manipulate what I wanted and pull out the CoQ10, which is problematic for people who are on Malarone, difenaquine. It really gives me a hard time in terms of what I have to change to and how expensive that is for all you guys. So I made this vitamin a year ago. It's just been the initial outlay is not cheap for me, but once I've got it, it's more cost effective to do it that way than to spend what we're having to pay on those big vitamins too. I mean, they're not cheap for us either. So I think I'm gonna I just told Chris, I told Lauren, I said, give me the list of what I did. I need to see what the ingredients look like a year ago. I'm gonna tweak it a little bit more, make sure, see if I can put some more stuff in there. Be half the price for you guys and the same amount of pills, if not less, and all in one bottle, which is nice. And then I may make one also for Dapsone so that we can put all those vitamins like the alpha, the NADH, the turmeric, all that in one vitamin. So it's half the price for you guys too, because the biggest problem with most of the patients, especially the ones within my practice who live on fixed incomes, is affording the supplements. I mean, that's the biggest problem. The antibiotics and stuff are not a big issue. It's the supplements that's the problem. And if I can cut the cost by 2/3, which is what I can do, cut it down from $450 to $250 or something like that, or cut it at least in half, probably in half. That would be great for all of you. So now I just got to see what it's going to cost me to make the one for the Dapsone. So we got, this is your Dapsone, this is your non-Dapsone, and then all you have to do is flip back and forth in between, recovery and the actual protocol. So yeah, that would be nice. So working on that. I think we're just going to start. Who we got? Got my old diehards. How you doing, Matt? Hey, Angel.
Hey,
Angel is our new nurse practitioner, right? Can't see you.
sorry. Hey, yes. I
Yep,
just
she'll be
got
with
done
us
eating
in
dinner.
3 weeks. We can't wait. Dying. Matt, I think your microphone's off. There you go. I still can't hear you. Is it just me? I was just hearing,
I can't hear him.
yeah, I can hear you. Matt, we can't hear you. Angel, I can't hear you. Info at Sawgrass. You guys all need to turn off your micro or turn your microphones on so I can hear you if you want to talk. All right. Does anybody have any questions you guys want me to start with? Anybody got any concerns? A couple of you are on Dapsone. Some of you are starting Dapsone.
I just
Matt,
turned my microphone on, but I'm going to turn it off in case
okay.
the dogs are barking.
Okay. Okay. I just can't see you. So there you are, Kate. Okay. I
Okay.
wasn't who that was. All right. And Matt, are you good over there? Can't hear you. Uh-uh. I knew you to be able to talk to everybody to see how you're doing. I can't hear a thing from you. I'll let you work on that, but I can't hear anything. All right, so I think there's two of you here, one of you here that I can see who's on Dapsone in the middle of a couple of pulses. And usually we have a few more of you guys. Here comes another one. Jacqueline. Anyway, and then we have a few of you that are getting ready to start. So I'll just kind of roll through it here and give you a little bit of an idea. I've lost track of how many people now because everybody's rolling through at a different rate. Probably 15 patients, maybe somewhere around there. Pretty much everybody but a couple have done exceptionally well. Everybody has made it through except one person who's got her issues, so I wouldn't count her. We don't even get started, to be honest with you. But everybody's made it through. And despite the horror stories you hear out there, I think a lot of those have to do with how the protocol was given to them, how much support they had, how much understanding they had of the protocol, and how much, they were prepared with medications and other support systems, including IV Myers cocktails, having enough, nausea medicine on hand, having, enough anti-itch medicine on hand, Atarax, hydroxyzine, Benadryl, whatever, to make sure they get through it, and to kind of make sure you have every base covered in terms of how we can deal with how bad the flare, or as some of you guys know what the herpes is going to be. In my opinion, the Dapsone protocol is the best protocol. There is nothing that is going to beat that protocol in terms of trying to put this into remission. And it's probably always going to be a remission, which is where I think most of us were at some point before it got reactivated, and then we got stuck in activation mode. But it is the only drug, which is the leprosy drug, that will get the persisters dealt with. We have never had a drug that has the persister ability. Everything except for disulfiram, which is the antabuse, the alcohol drug, which is very difficult to tolerate side effect wise, has to be used for a good 18 months. I put people into remission with it 5-10 years ago, but now it's brutal to stay on it for that long. No alcohol at all, blah, blah, blah. So Dapsone, even though I think in the short term is more aggressive, in the long term, it's got better results and a better remission rate. And I think it probably does better for Bartonella too. So, I've shortened the protocol. And like I said, this is the persisters. We are capable right now, unless we have serious resistance, of wiping out the spirochetes, which is the initial organism that gets into the body, which is the corkscrew. It then goes in the cell. So you get it out of the cell and in the cell kind of situation. And then it replicates itself into another form, which is the round body cyst form. After that form, it then goes into the persister or resistant form, which is the one that has been our nemesis for decades now. We cannot get rid of this thing. And then that gets into a biofilm, which is where all infections live. They all create a biofilm. This is common knowledge now to scientists, maybe not to physicians, but to scientists. They know almost every organism that's a bacteria is going to go live in a biofilm, replicate itself, and whatever. But some will get deeper into biofilm than others, which is why most colds and infections, whatnot, we get over. But this one, for what it's worth, and Bartonella and its co-infections, whether it's been genetically engineered to be much more superior at this or what, it gets into a biofilm very quickly. It replicates itself in there and changes its forms very quickly. It completely evades the immune system. It gets itself entrenched in tissue very easily, especially at the initial stage, because the initial stage for a spirochete, exceptionally, especially, I can hear you now, I think, is...
Can you hear me now?
Yes, now I got you. Okay. It's a spiral, which is why it's called a spirochete. And syphilis is in the same category. So, sexually transmission is another issue with this, especially male to female for the most part. But because it's got this corkscrew appearance and ability, it's burrowing itself into tissue in your brain, in every tissue of the body so quickly, within days to weeks, maybe hours, we don't know. And the Bartonella and the Babesia is getting right into red blood cells as well as other places very quickly. So it's really taking over the whole body as fast as it can. And the latest data that I read somewhere is there's a protective barrier. It's a sugar-coated barrier somewhere, some protein barrier that exists in all different places in your body. And depending on where there's a weakness there, whether it's genetically or age-related or environment-related or due to inflammation or whatever's changing in the body, this is able to get past that state, that barrier that doesn't allow it in. So, honestly, it's getting into different places based on wherever there's a weakness. And obviously there are weaknesses in different places for different people, because there are people like me who don't have any fatigue and brain fog, but I have tons of pain. Others of you guys, you have balance issues, and some of you don't have pain. Others have huge brain fog and fatigue. So it's very variable. So it really does make sense that there are certain parts in the body, depending on what your genetics are, that are going to protect you in certain ways. So once the spirochete gets in, this is an amazing organism that has, and I'm giving you the science so you understand where we're going with so many different medicines and so many reasons why we have all these medicines. But this is a very intelligent organism. It may be one of the most intelligent organisms we have because it's able to enter the body, evade the immune system, bury itself everywhere and burrow, and then it's able to change forms. It's like a shapeshifter. It changes into 3 and 4 different forms. It can go back and forth into these forms. So if you kill one form, you get it gets whatever's left over gets into a different form, and you will play ping pong and whack-a-mole forever with this thing unless you get everything at the same time. And our challenge has been with all these different forms to figure out how do we get them all at the same time, because it's like any tick you have or flea you have in your body or your house or your animal, you leave one behind, it's coming back. And right now, the persisters that are buried in the biofilm, if we don't kill them, they keep seeping out of the biofilm. And what do you think they do? They change the forms right back to the spirochete and the round body cyst form. It keeps on going like a ping pong. So that's why we've got so many medications on board. We have minocycline or doxycycline and azithromycin and clarithromycin, because those 2 medications get the spirochete form. And we double dose those because we got it. That's your forefront. That's the main organism that's starting all this. So we usually double team that in the dapsone protocol if people can tolerate it or don't have an allergy. The second medication we'll put on is rifampin or cephalosporin. Both are good medications, rifampin being the superior in terms of its kill rate. It is a tuberculosis drug. We get it up to 300 or 600 milligrams twice a day, depending on where you are and what you tolerate in the protocol. That gets the second form, the round body active growing cyst form. And then the third thing we do is we add the biofilm busters. We got 4 of them to open up the biofilm. And we're doing all this ahead of time because as best as we can kill the easy stuff with those antibiotics, and as best as we can open up the biofilm wide open, which is with the liposomal cinnamon clove and oregano, the biocidin, the stevia, and the, what did I miss? Peppermint oil. Once you open up the biofilm, which I've got a lot of you doing before we even get started. And the reason why so many of you are flaring and herxing and miserable before I even get to that point is because I've opened the biofilm like a fire hydrant. And I want everything in the bloodstream. Dr. Horowitz wants everything in the bloodstream. He wants the antibiotics on board early as well, which you guys have all been doing already. I mean, I've marched you up to this point all along so that we can have easy stuff, low-hanging fruit with the antibiotics killed. Biofilm is open. Persisters are sitting there. Your immune system is doing its best it can to deal with the persisters. And then here comes dapsone and pyrazinamide and hydroxychloroquine, but mostly dapsone. And dapsone is going to come in, and every persister that's available to it and still opening biofilm all the way through is going to be subjected to this antibiotic. And then the die-off occurs. And depending on how much, persisters in your bloodstream or where dapsone can get to it, and it has very good tissue penetration. It does pass the blood-brain barrier. So it's going to get everywhere and scavenge all of it. So, it's variable whether you're going to feel better, worse, or indifferent while we do the protocol. The side effects from dapsone, not really that bad. Maybe some nausea. I haven't seen really any rashes once. The nausea is pretty impressive, but the side effects are not as bad as I would have thought. What you guys are all feeling and are going to feel is the flare. You're going to feel the flare wherever this thing is, because it's going to manifest itself probably into similar things where you have right now. So if your brain fog, your fatigue, your pain, your balance, those are usually the top 4, itching, those are the things that are going to come forward, no question. And those are the things that will start to regress. But everybody's very variable on how they're responding. So I have probably 2 people right now who are begging me to put them back on dapsone. They actually feel better on dapsone. They get better on dapsone. That would be the hope for everybody, but that's not the case. Then I've got people who come off dapsone. The first 2 weeks off of dapsone is rough. We've killed a lot. Body's got to clear it out and deal with it. You got to keep your bowels moving, keep hydrated. Once we clear that out for 2 weeks, then we got to just wait and see, because everybody's different. I've had some people get better at that point for 3 or 4 days or even a day and regress. I've had some people keep getting better every time we do another couple of weeks of dapsone, as we're going to do, which is bring it back into the picture every 4 weeks. We'll introduce it again for a week or 2, not as long as the first protocol, but everybody's variable. My best patient, honestly, so far is my 75-year-old, and she's not here tonight. I don't think Cheryl's here, but she's just finishing up her 4th. She finished her 4th pulse, and after the 3rd, she went 4 weeks, I believe, almost without regressing. We did another pulse. We just going on to a 5th, and she's been doing phenomenal. So once we get that far out, the next pulse will be determined on when the symptoms slip back. if they slip back. And then we'll just keep waiting for another pulse until we need to. So we've got to get through 4 or 5 pulses from what I see for things to get better. And I think one of the things that she said was pretty remarkable, which I'd never thought about, is a lot of people complain of a lot of head pressure, a lot of dizziness, the balance, and the sinus pressure. And it seems like Bartonella, probably, it could be Lyme, but it's not in the sinus cavity itself. So it's not creating all this mucus that you would think when you have a sinus infection. It's pressure. Everybody feels sinus pressure, face pressure, head pressure. And with her, once we added the dapsone by the 3rd pulse, she was blowing more stuff out of her head than she knew what to do with. I have another patient who's on IVs right now. I had to pull back because the secretions that were coming post-nasal drip all through her sinuses were insane, and the head pressure was insane. 20-year-old girl. And it was because I think it's all in the lining of the sinus. It's not in the cavity. It's all in the lining. So that's what's causing so much pressure. And when we finally get the dapsone on board, then you're killing the bacteria in the lining. There is where the mucus starts to come to the picture, because there's your die-off. So I think a lot of you with head pressure and a lot of brain fog, that may be what's going on to some degree, or head pressure, neck pressure. It's probably all in your sinuses, and the sinuses are everywhere. They're ethmoid here, they're maxillary, they're frontal, and then there's sphenoid sinuses, which are deep in the middle of your head. So that's where a lot of pressure is coming from. So, you're going to feel things all over the place. You may feel things you've never felt with dapsone before, because this is like, a horror movie and a science experiment. Hey, look, where are you now? Come out wherever you are. And here it comes. I mean, it's like, where the heck did that come from? I mean, I had parotid pain when we started. I have, weird off balance at time. I started itching when I started dapsone a couple of weeks. I mean, when I started rifampin, and the higher the dose, the more the itching. It's stuff that I've never had before, and rifampin has done that better than the cephalosporin has. So, I've narrowed it down to 5 weeks. The first couple of weeks is not going to be too bad unless you're extremely sensitive to dapsone in terms of killing, because the real strength, the strength in which it will die, is at 100 milligrams. So this protocol gets you there in a week, and then a week or 2, and then weeks 3 and 4 are at 100 milligrams twice a day, and week 5 will be at 200. That used to be a 9-week protocol with 3 to 4 weeks to get to the 100 milligram dose, which I think Horowitz did because people just couldn't tolerate going up so quickly. But it's just painstaking, and Matt can speak to that because he did it, to go 7 weeks before, or 8 weeks before you get to the 200 milligram dose. And with dapsone, we already know it's not a true side effect. It's just what the drug does. Everybody's going to hemolyze. Everybody's going to have, most people have increased levels of methemoglobin. The methemoglobin is genetically determined. I've seen that based on what everybody's baselines are. But with this protocol, with a lot of vitamin C, the Myers cocktails, the methylene blue, the liposomal glutathione, we can keep the methemoglobins down. And those levels are directly tied to how well you're going to oxygenate, because the oxygen needs to get out of the cell so that you can breathe. And methemoglobin, as it increases with dapsone, will bind that oxygen so it can't get out. So the key is to keep those levels below 10. I do not want any of you going off a pulse ox while we do this, because I've already had one episode where they transfused her. They, did oxygen and all this. We did a blood gas on her, and it was completely normal, and at oxygen 99, and her pulse ox was 80. Okay, so Horowitz warns against this. A pulse ox will be totally inaccurate on this protocol. Okay, so that's important. So it's going to go more off symptoms and more off your level. If your levels are sitting below 10, I'm not expecting you to be short of breath unless we got something else going on, meaning there's a lot of die-off happening in your lungs or something, or there's a cardiac situation happening. So just avoid the pulse ox. So with that, all those meds and the IVs and whatnot, we can keep those levels down. The hemolysis is happening no matter what I do. There is nothing that we can do to stop the hemolysis, and everybody in the breakage of the red blood cells. So everyone's getting anemic at a different rate. Men go a lot slower. They start a lot higher. They can tolerate doing probably 3 or 4 weeks of dapsone, whereas females can probably get through 2 at most, because men start at a hemoglobin of 14 or 15, and women are starting at 12 and 13. And we're dropping about 3 to 4 points on the hemoglobin. Now, we did that on the really long protocol. On the short one of 5 weeks, it's going to be less. When I do the 2 weeks of dapsone at 200 twice a day for the pulse, I don't see the drops anywhere near as much. We get in, we get out pretty quickly. So I think we've minimized that by getting through the protocol a little bit faster. And that's that. All the supplements are in the office. We have everything ready to go. I was just talking to one of the patients about the fact that I've already created the Dapsone and the regular vitamin a while ago, at least the regular one. And I'm going to try to combine all these into one bottle and make it like half the price for you guys. I just have to do it. It's the outlay is expensive up front, but in the long run, it's cheaper for both of us. So I'm going to work on doing that. And I'm going to work on putting just the Dapsone supplements, the ones like you guys are taking, the Alpha Q and the NADH and the turmeric. And I'm going to see how many of those I can put into one pill bottle. So that's like, okay, you take this to Dapsone and you take that at the other time. And I'm getting rid of CoQ10 because it's screwing me up on my Babesia patients. I can't use CoQ10 with those medicines. So does anybody have any questions? We're starting about 20 plus people on the 5th of January. Some are here tonight. Everybody's quiet.
Oh, I was gonna say didn't you say the Alpha CU, or when I ordered my supplements last time, they replaced it with something else now, right?
Yeah, we found something equally as good, just a little bit cheaper. I think it's a little bit less, maybe 600 versus 800 or something like that. But it's also in some of the other supplements too. But yeah, we're trying to find supplements that are less expensive, and the patients are helping with that too. As long as it's a pharmaceutical grade, then I'm good to put it in the office if it's.
I have another question for you. So in regards to the vitamin C, the 1,000 milligrams that it's like a big horse, it almost like a horse grain, and it doesn't taste well because you can't. It's too big to swallow. Can you take or is there a gummy that you would recommend in place of that that's 1,000 milligrams?
The only reason I don't like gummies and going off the beaten path to some degree is because I don't know how much is really in there. Anything that's not pharmaceutical grade, it's questionable in terms of whether there's really that amount in there. I've seen it too often with the multivitamins and with the vitamin D. It just is pitiful. If you can find a gummy that's pharmaceutical grade, I have no problem. The other thing is I can look into it, and I haven't obviously, is to see if there's a powder that might do better in terms of like an orange taste or something. I know there have been powders for vitamin C. If I can find a pharmaceutical grade or something that I like that can do a powder form, and I know some patients have approached me about it. Vitamin C is not too bad. I just never know much about gummies. I think the liquid wouldn't be a bad idea. Some people have approached me about, can I use the powder form? And I'm okay with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know some of the gummies, like we had the immune or the vitamin C, what is it like? The immune C or whatever it's called, ones that when people are getting sick. So I had some, and I just took a couple of those instead of sucking down 4,000 milligrams. So I do like 2 and 2.
I mean, whatever we can come up with that is going to be easier for everybody, I'm good for. I just want to make sure because your vitamin C is really making a difference here for the methemoglobin levels, and I just want to make sure we're not climbing off the chains. So I mean, if your levels look okay, and on a pulse, I'm not too worried about it because we're in and out so quick. On the 5-week protocol, I'm probably not that worried about it either. When we were at 9 weeks, we were struggling. Half the people were struggling going over 5 and 6, and a couple hit 10 and 15. But I think it's probably reasonable at this point. I'm just going to try to find out if we can find either a gummy or a powder that does as well. And we'll taste it first before I taste everything before it goes in my office for the most part. So vitamin C powder. How are you feeling? Because I haven't seen you this week yet.
No, today is day 9.
Is it the second or the third? Second pulse?
Second pulse. Yep.
So this is the third go around. Okay, so day 9 how far are you going to go?
I'm going all the way through, I'm going to finish Saturday, so that'll be 14 days.
Okay, how are you feeling through this pulse?
I didn't even really feel much of it until yesterday, so it's been noticeably different.
Yeah,
because last time I got through 10 days, and then I said, okay, that's enough for the first pulse.
Yeah. How about
what's that?
What are your symptoms doing? Because I know you had a period of 4 days after the very first 9-week protocol that you did all right, but we didn't.
Yeah. So after the very first, when we did my first protocol, mine was like 7.5 because we started cutting it down. That's when you started knocking some of it off. I know when that one first ended, like the first day off of it, when you stopped everything cold turkey, you were just like, whoa, that one was rough. But and then last time, and then I ended up having the 4 days like about, was it a couple,
You had a
it was
couple
about a
weeks
week
later.
later, I had, yeah, about a week after, I had 4 days where I was like, whoa. And then I didn't get that in between this last pulse.
Right.
And then, so my symptoms are still, it's the, all you're talking about with the pressure, the head, or it feels like your head's in a vice.
Yeah.
And then, or like the best way, instead of just a head in a vice, I say like if you've ever wore a hard hat and someone's twisting that thing in the back and it's like squeezing all around the top, that's what it feels. Um, and then you get the pressure between the eyes and the off balance still, and the neck
You got the
pressure.
sinuses then. You got the sinuses. Okay.
Yeah, and then the dizzy or the off balance
Okay.
stuff. But my blood pressure hasn't been all over the place. That's been kind of right where we wanted it.
Okay.
But I know
You're
some of the
walking right
swelling.
now because you had that 4 days that you did well the first go around. Has then you gotten
Mhm.
better or worse with you walking?
Just stayed.
Same.
It's just stayed not good.
Okay.
Like I still can't change direction without being off balance, and
Okay.
legs still heavy. But as you said, we don't know if that's the POTS, if that's
Yeah. The good thing is you're tolerating 9 days. You're going to get to 2 weeks for sure.
Mhm.
And then
Yep.
we'll see what happens when you come off of this one. And I don't have everything in front of me. Do you have Bartonella?
Yeah, I got the big three.
You got all three. So those are the ones that are going to be tougher. And the Bartonella is the toughest. So, but I mean, Cheryl had Bart too. And it took
Mhm.
the third pulse for her to really see any major difference.
Yeah,
She was going, yeah, it's better. No, it's not. Yes, it isn't. By like a couple of weeks after the third pulse, she was like, whoa. And
yeah.
she did well. She went 2, 3 weeks,
Well,
something.
I know with this one, like the only thing that started yesterday, which I used to have right away, is like it's almost like there's like a pain like right near your heart in the chest that you
Mm,
feel, and you're like, what is this? And that made it harder to go to sleep while you're waiting on the
yeah.
other stuff to kick in. And
Yeah.
that hasn't really been there until last night was the first time I felt anything like that, but it wasn't near as bad as it was. So I don't know if,
Stuff is getting better. Yeah.
yeah, hopefully everything's going in the right direction. That's what
Has
um
anything else gotten better that you can notice or lessened?
the GI issues have lessened.
Okay. So I know GI for people, we all think it's related to all the antibiotics and the drugs you guys are all taking. There is some of that, trust me. But I have noticed that what we mistake for drug side effects is probably a herx in the GI tract. I really think a lot of you have this in the GI tract and it's coming from everywhere. And it's also coming out in your GI tract. So, histamine is being stimulated there. Nausea is becoming a result. Diarrhea, whatever, constipation, all kinds of things are happening because it's in your gut. So the good thing that you're
Yeah.
tolerating this means maybe your gut is recovering a little bit too.
Well, the things that when I started itraconazole and the GI detox, I've noticed a difference since I started those two.
Yeah, the mold toxicity is way more than any of us anticipated. Everybody's like, I don't live in a moldy environment. I live in a new house. Well, let me tell you the construction on a new house. If they put the walls up, the sheetrock up after a rainstorm and the wood is completely soaked, then it doesn't get to dry and it's sitting there causing mold. So new construction can have the same issue. Or you could have been exposed heavily to mold at school, at work, who knows where. Everybody's complained they've been somewhere that's moldy in hotels, and then you get colonized with it, and then the body can't immune wise deal with it because it's dealing with Lyme and being everything else in your body. So mold becomes an opportunistic infection. Your immune system can't handle it anymore, and then it goes crazy. And we know that mold has very similar symptoms to all of these cut infections. It has brain fog, it has balance, it has itching, it has rashes, it has all of it, fatigue. So starting a lot of you guys, especially in between the pulses or even before we get started on the GI detox, the itraconazole, and even the well call, some of you herx. I mean, I've had to pull back on some people because it was pretty aggressive. But it really has made a lot of difference in people's GI tracts. You're right. I think the GI tract on a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people is mold, probably. So
Yeah.
that's good. Anything else you've noticed neurologically, pain?
Let's see. My feet haven't been, as I told you last time I saw you there a few weeks ago, my feet swelling hasn't really returned.
Coming
Um,
out of the vascular, which is Bartonella.
yeah, still have a little bit of the tingly in the fingers and stuff, but not. Uh, but yeah, I think I mean, fingers crossed. I think we're making progress this time. We'll see
Okay.
how it looks.
If you had a 10 out of 10 scale, obviously, with 10 being the worst, where are you? Not counting how bad you feel. I mean, are you getting better? Are you somewhere between?
I'm probably like in the middle now. I'm probably around 5 or 6
That's actually pretty good. And
versus where I was when,
we
like
started.
I don't have the instant, like all the, like my, was it the shoulder, or I guess like the shoulder joints, the knee joints, everything are just like you couldn't even pick up your hand to like use the mouse when it got really bad. And I haven't had that, knock on wood. And
Yeah, that
you
was
know,
before Dapsone?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So a lot is getting
Well,
better.
it's still after the first one. So I
Right.
mean,
It's getting better. Yeah.
and
It's
then
coming.
I finished my Babesia treatment, I finished the Malarone, the Tefenaquin, or
Lumbrokinase.
yeah, lumbrokinase, and I'm still doing azithromycin though, but
Go back on the
um,
lumbrokinase after this, because if there's any biofilm left, the Dapsone is getting some of this. So I would just keep taking the
okay,
lumbrokinase when you can go, whenever you can. I mean, it's not a big deal right now, but Dapsone does get some of the Babesia, and as long as we keep opening up biofilm, the better chance we have of it getting out of there. What were your symptoms for Babesia? Did you have the sweats?
yeah, night sweats. Um, oh, what ones did we classify as Babesia? Let's see, it was the night sweats was the big one, and then uh, you said the GI could have been the stuff with the vagus nerve, not
Did you
what
have,
else
well, you
would we,
still have the headaches, but it's usually cough, shortness of breath, headache, air hunger.
shortness of breath, yep, the air hunger, like, and then I have that pain I get like right in the xiphoid process area, whatever you want to call that. And you said it
What's
was,
gone?
what's that?
What's gone away with the Babesia treatment? The sweats?
The sweats, yeah, I haven't had the night sweats.
Okay. The air hunger?
That's hit or miss. It's not all the way gone, but it only comes back. It's very not every day anymore.
Okay, so that's better. And the headaches, I don't know. It's hard to say because Lyme can all be
Yeah,
everything from your sinuses. All right. So did you have a cough before?
sometimes.
You have a cough now?
Actually, in this last week, I've been sneezing in like a productive cough lately to get it's like clearing stuff out. You
Yeah,
feel that
that's your sinus. That's that mucus that's going to start as we pull all of this out of your sinuses. That's what's going to start. So that's probably
it's not like a regular cold cough, like where you would see it to be like yellow or green or nothing. No, this
It's
is
just
like clear.
mucus. It's just clear
Yeah,
mucus. That's what Cheryl complained about, just gobs and gobs. And like I said, my ice skating patient who's on a PICC line and has regressed significantly. But when I started putting everything on board, I had the antibiotics. Her mom had started the methylene blue. The herbals were starting to go, and the amount of mucus, she was almost drowning. It was so bad. And she has
yeah. It
Bartonella.
tickles, causes a tickle in the like Adam's apple area for me. It's like right
Yeah.
behind there.
It's
You
just
just feel it.
postnasal. Yep. So I mean, that's a good thing. It means it's coming out. So that's good.
And I think some of that might be part of what's my like because that actually started up worse after I started treatment. I remember the first time because I actually when I'm on Dapsone, that's part of the thing that was causing me to like tap out all the way through is you couldn't it's like you can't breathe. It almost feels like you're suffocating because you feel it all just like
So
in your
much
throat
liquid.
as you're trying to lay down.
Yeah, it's like a drowning.
Yeah,
That's what it describes. I had to stop, and it actually did stop when I pulled back. So that means it wasn't a side effect. It was just too much killing at the same time because your body's going to respond by mucus to try to
that's
kill
what
it.
happened to me last time why I stopped
Yep.
because it was just too much. I was just like you couldn't sleep because you were trying to fall asleep and then you get it's that what do you call it like that
Like aspirate.
adrenaline surge. Well, you feel that and then you get like a sense of adrenaline because that's what was happening to me when my walking but when this all started when I was getting off balance is like you feel like you're gonna like fall over and then you get like this adrenaline surge that like rushes across your head and it gets you like perked back up and ready to go again for a little bit and it's that same I
Over and
guess
over.
is that what it is adrenaline that kind of hits you like that.
Well, yeah. I mean, if your body's in a fight or flight stance because it senses something's massively wrong, it's going to kick in all the sympathetic nervous system to deal with that. So your heart rate goes
Okay,
up. It's trying to respond to some kind of an emergency, and that's what's happening. But it's an epinephrine or adrenaline either way.
okay.
Anybody else have any questions or anything they want to add? Anybody have any questions about the Dapsone coming up to ask anybody?
When can you start Dapsone? As you get into
Um,
it? I'm just
yeah,
starting.
yeah, you're just starting. Usually I start from starting the supplements, getting that on board for the first month. We're doing the
Yeah.
GI detox, getting that on board, trying to get as much as I can out of the way first. Then I'll add the antibiotics and get you up to where I need you to be, which would be the Dapsone, the 3 antibiotics. Then I add the 4 biofilm busters. I'm adding them in as I move along. And if you're not herxing too much, I'll move faster. I don't want to open biofilm till I know you're not in bad shape already. Like my one who's got the, the IVs going, I can't touch biofilm with her. I can barely get the antibiotics in her without her herxing. But once I've got the 3 antibiotics, or however you can tolerate with his allergies or whatnot, and then the 4 biofilm busters, which pretty much everybody can tolerate, albeit some people don't like the oregano one. But once they're on board, and I've got your supplements going, and if I don't see any substantial improvement within 3 or 4 months, then if not less, or you're getting worse, or you're just not budging, then we got to move to Dapsone. Beforehand, we would just stick you on this stuff forever, hoping that at some point you'd at least get to learn to live with a little bit better of a situation. But now we know it's just going to be like this. And the minute we stop the antibiotics, all the organisms start coming right back because the persisters are there. Everything starts coming out of the cells, and we just start the whole circus all over again. So I give people now 3 or 4 months. If I'm not seeing any improvement, we move. And that 3 or 4 months allows me to get everything I need on board, because we just can't push you into Dapsone. That would be crazy because it's just too much. So at least we get rid of the low-hanging fruit and we move on. So about 3 to 4 months to get you ramped up. And if you're tolerating everything and I feel we can move forward, and you're like, I don't want to do this anymore, let's shorten this from 2 to 5 years of misery to, 4 weeks of misery, 5 weeks of misery, and then a couple of pulses. Like you're hearing, by the 3rd or the 4th pulse, people are definitely feeling improvement, whether it's not as severe or it's completely better. It's very different. I've only got 2 people I can't fix. It's not happening. And I don't know why. It could be one probably has organisms that we don't know what we're treating, is my guess. There's stuff we're missing and we don't know what it is. The other one has so many forms of Lyme in her, so many different species. There are 6, plus several species of Bart, plus a couple of species of Babesia. And who knows what else. There's so much in her that we just can't make any headway. So we're scrambling on that one. And she just got a PICC line, and she's been through Dapsone. We've been through a couple of pulses. She does feel better on the pulse, but I can't keep her on long enough because her hemoglobin keeps dropping on me. And she's been down to Mexico. She's done oxygen, ozone, cells, chelation, still nothing. Dapsone so far has done the best. But she is going to do SOT, which is an oligonucleotide therapy. I can't remember what S stands for. It's a big word. But it actually is a medication, or it's a liquid. It's a solution that they take. We do vibrant first, and that gives you the different species, as opposed to IGeneX, which just tells me yes or no. But we can get a species out of that, and then we can attack that specific species by breaking its DNA with the solution that they create, and then we go from there. Now, it's hit or miss. People who have had it a long time, I don't see a lot of improvement. People who have had it for a shorter period of time, they tend to do better. It is something that may help somewhat. It is not fixing you, not by any means, but at least it allows us to get over the hump with some people. So SOT is out there as another option. Expensive. No insurance is paying for that one. It's a minimum of $2,500 per species. So that's an issue. I'm getting ready to put that in my office next month. I start the course Tuesday. We will have it up and running by January, February. So we'll be able to start that as another option. The Rife machine is another option. It's an expensive machine. I have it in my office right now to try it. It works by sound waves. And there is definitely proof, whether they think so or not through the FDA, that sound waves can kill things. And we all know the frequency upon which a lot of these organisms will die. We know frequencies by which we can pull down buildings and cement towers. So it is not unrealistic that cancer cells and infectious cells, bacteria, viruses even, can be killed by certain frequencies. So I'm investigating that now. I need to have somebody come and sit in front of that machine for an hour and see how they do, because I'm not a good enough candidate for that.
Everyone.
That's okay.
I can't sit still for an hour.
Well, no, because my symptoms are that. No, I go sitting there and see a patient. Honestly, it's for that too. But no, I don't have any symptoms, so I'm not going to herx. That's the problem. And I mean, we had 3 of us in there the other day. I put 2 of the staff members in there, but the guy claimed like 5 minutes, and you'll be herxing all over the place. We're all like, no way. The other lady who has a machine also, who sells to people, says 1 hour, 3 times a week. That sounds more realistic. So I need to have Christine go in there and sit there for an hour and see what happens,
What brand did you buy?
Which I haven't bought it. It's the big one. It's the a modular motto, whatever. It's the $5,000 machine. I mean, the little ones are decent, but from what I've seen, you got to handheld them and they really don't do it. The microcurrent doesn't do well either. If you're going to go, you go to the real machine, but most people, almost all people, can't afford a $5,000 machine. So the drawback to doing it in my office is you got to come in there. I can't just loan it out. I would love to have rented out smaller ones. I thought about doing that, but the smaller ones are a joke. They're not going to be worth it. You got to come, and I can put 6 people in a room. I mean, it's not like it's only one person at a time. So I mean, we can put 6 people in a room for an hour, put the certain current on. What determines, who's going to stay longer than others is how bad off are you. So, if you're really bad, I wouldn't put you in there for a full hour. If you were marginal, you'd go in for maybe an hour. So it just depends, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. We have to kind of see with how sick you are, and I'm going to do volunteering at this point because he's left the machine with me for nothing. So I just want to get some volunteers who go in there and see if they hurts on me, or if they feel better.
Does it have to be 3 times a week?
That's what the one who I really believe. This other guy, he's into Reiki and his hands are going to heal everybody. And he's a little bit out there, but I mean, he's had it himself and he's been through a year with the PICC line. He's been through all kinds of therapy. And he said, this is the only thing that worked. I have another woman who's with
Because
IGenics.
that's too far for me for 3 times a week.
Yeah, I know. Let's see if it works first. We'll see. But the other woman is the IGenics rep, and she tried SOT 12 times, Rife machine, you name it. She wound up doing well with magnet therapy. So in March, I'm going to go up and take the magnet course, and then I'll have that available to us too. And that is just a different way than a
Is that what Lyme Stop does?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Although I try to go through Lyme Stop and it's an act of Congress in order to get their course. I don't even know what it is. I got to pass a test. I got to wait. It's across the country. Well, both of them are. But this woman was like, got a course 1 week. Next course available somewhere in March. I got to find out what day. I'm going to go up to Vermont and freeze my tail off in March, and hopefully not get stuck there in a snowstorm. But I'm going to go up there and take the course so that I have that as yet another option or helping people get through. Because I mean, if you think about it, magnets is a way to disrupt the bacteria. So is sound waves. There've got to be other ways to do this other than blasting people with chemo, basically. I mean, there's other ways to do this. And
Where is it you got to go for a course?
I got to go up to Vermont. I got to go to Vermont.
Oh, what part of Vermont?
Nashville? That's New Hampshire?
Yeah, Nashville's New Hampshire.
Somewhere. Yeah, it's up there
Is
somewhere.
it Brattleboro?
I have no idea where I'm going. I just know it's cold and I'm going to Vermont.
Oh, see, because that's where I'm from originally.
Oh, is there? I'll let you know then. I'll have to find out exactly where this lady is. In fact, the lady from IGenics lives in her town, so I can find out from Denise. But yeah,
Well, I know what is it? The Brunner protocol or whatever, the ones that initially started that.
Yeah.
He's from the Brattleboro area because one of the first ones to do the tinctures with his stuff in it was the Green Dragon Botanical whatever that's up there.
So I'll find out for you. I'll let you know, but I'll be planning on doing that as soon as she opens up the course that I can get into. I know we called about a month ago and she said she's up. The next one is in March. So I got to call. I got to have Lauren call just to get me on board and let me know when it is. So we'll at least have the SOT, we'll have the magnets, we'll have the Rife, we just have different modalities to see what's going to work. And then there's the Dapsone. So your answer, I mean, long story long, is, it's just going to depend on when you're ready and if you feel like you're sick enough to go forward with it.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Okay.
Is that your husband in the background there?
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I don't know if somebody was asking me a question or that's it.
I'm like, does he have to talk on the phone right there?
I know. It's like kids.
It is.
Does anybody else have any questions? Or I know there's a couple of you coming up on the Dapsone. And I know one of you here right now is pretty sick, so it's going to be rough. But
did you ever try the EBOO or whatever that is? I've seen people talk. I've seen that advertised for people, or it's another kind of like IV treatment. It seems like, or intravenous.
There's True Lyme.
True Lance. Ozone in the blood.
It's oh my God, why is I'm blanking? Not True Lance, that's the medication.
Is it the ozone? I don't know. I've seen.
No, there is an ozone. It might be that name. I don't know. When I was at the conference and when I talked to people, the one where they take out the platelets and put it back in, which is blanking on the name of it, True Dose. It's expensive. It's sitting at 2,500 a pop, at least around there, 1,300, 1,000, something. It's got to be done like once every 6 weeks. It's outrageously expensive. The people that I've talked to kind of on the side at the conference were like, don't. I mean, nobody
Okay.
can afford it. You got to keep doing it to maintain it. It's not something that's going to work. Now, in itself, I think until we've had Dapsone, I think people were kind of getting of the mindset that is multiple modalities that work. So you might need ozone, you might need hyperbaric oxygen. You could definitely use the antibiotics. You can use the right. I mean, you're using multiple things to try to corner this and the herbals from every direction. So that was the thinking behind it. But from everybody, even the guys who were presenting at the conference, it's like, you need to do this for like 6 months, every week, high dose oxygen, hyperbaric. It's ridiculously expensive. It starts to add up, and I don't think any of them are seeing phenomenal results. Not really. So I
Okay.
don't know. And the true dose, I looked into putting it into the office for a small fortune, but it doesn't sound like it's going to be sustainable for most people, in which case it becomes, a waste of time and a waste of money. I think we'll get better bang for the buck out of the Dapsone, to be honest with you. And, long term with Dapsone, I honestly believe once we figure out, or it's going to be based on the patient. How long can you go without starting to relapse? And the minute you relapse, we put the Dapsone back on board until we get farther and farther and farther out that we see, okay, we've been 8 months, we've been a year without Dapsone. If we can get to 2 years without having to, put you on another Dapsone flare, then we're probably in remission or cure, at least from Bartonella and Lyme. Babesia, easy enough to treat as long as we use all four. I think we're probably going to see things that don't go into remission there, or we'll see relapse eventually. I have not seen a relapse on myself, and it's been 6-8 months, I think. I haven't, and I've used all four drugs. I still take lumbrokinase all the time. I don't know, I might pulse myself with difenaquine every once in a while. It's not cheap, but I can pulse myself with it. And I mean, I've now done 2 Igenics probably 3 or 4 months apart, and they've stayed negative on Babesia. Lyme, I can't get rid of yet. That 23 marker is a tough one. Whoever has 23, it's tough to get rid of.
Oh, yay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what it is, but it seems 23. I mean, people keep up with 41, but I consistently see people have 23, it's 23, 23. And now mine bounces around. Sometimes it's 31, 41, the combinations. The 23 plus that I had before has gone away. Now it's down to 23, but 23 never goes away. The other ones are bouncing around. It's like rock solid, that one. So, I mean, I'll do Dapsone on myself. I'm probably going to do it as you guys, the newer patients, hit the 3rd week, because I was going to do it along with you, but then I thought, God forbid I get really sick in the 5th week. I don't know who's going to take care of all of you. So I'm going to start, I think, the 3rd week that you guys are in. So I'll hit my 5th week a little later. You all be in recovery as I die. I might not. I have no idea what's going to happen. We'll see.
Hi, this is Terry. Can I ask a question about I heard you mention the Myers cocktail. Are you wanting us to do that while we're on the Dapsone, did you say?
Yeah, I mean, it's up to you. We have some patients that are coming in literally every week while they're going through the protocol because they're that miserable. I had one in there today, and I'm glad she was in because she is overly miserable. I had to try to pull back. So it really depends. It does help people. A lot of people swear by it, and there's no question that during the protocol, you're going to get some benefit out of the antioxidants. No question. And the vitamin C and the vitamin C.
Your office is too far, obviously, to come up there and do it. But I think I found someplace near me that offers that it's not going to be as reasonable. Right. And then is it recommended every week, like once a week?
I think it would be based on how you feel. If you feel after that 1st week into the protocol, I am already feeling miserable, then I would go. If you can get through the first couple of weeks and you're not too bad as I'm ramping it up, hold off.
Is there anything in that Myers cocktail that is like that I can take in a pill form, or
you already are? I mean, you're already on the B complex, you're on the liposomal glutathione, you got magnesium going. I mean, you got everything in the Myers cocktail for the most part. It's just nowhere near as bioavailable as when you inject it in a vein. Right. And we can't give you those doses. I mean, it's a lot of pills and only half of it's absorbed. So I think what's most important when you're going elsewhere is the Myers cocktail itself, which has the magnesium, the zinc, the B complex. But what you need is glutathione IV. And we're
Okay.
pushing 2,400 milligrams of glutathione IV. I mean,
I
that's blowing the oral out of the water.
so I've only done that Myers one time. The last time I came up to see you, I did it, and my husband and I went to have pizza after. And
Yeah.
I was sitting there at the
Falling
table,
asleep.
and I felt like my eyeballs were gonna pop out of my head. Is that normal?
Yeah, everybody describes something different. Some people are extremely tired. Some people
Uh-huh.
say they don't. I have had one with chest pressure. It was a young kid. It's all variable. Almost everybody feels the same or better.
Yeah.
I've got two of them that are coming in twice a week. They can't live without it. They notice the difference within,
Yeah.
they're one of them sick, very sick with immunoglobulin deficiency and a lot of Bartonella everywhere. In fact, she's had two of her joints completely disintegrate. She's now had one and maybe in for second joint replacement as she didn't follow through with what I wanted her to do. She let it go for a year. So now that's the problem. But yeah, and she comes in regularly, so it depends. But I would definitely get the Myers cocktail, make sure it's similar to what we're using, get the IV glutathione, and make sure you get vitamin C, anywhere from 2 to 10 grams of vitamin C through this protocol IV, which they'll
Okay.
charge you extra for because it's not cheap.
Yes. Yeah, I did that outside of because I live in Orlando, so I've done that way. And after talking with Dr. B about what the ingredients were, I found a place down here. But yeah, I had to do. They call it a glutathione push, and then you add. It was the 10 grams of
Vitamin C.
vitamin C. So and they charge everything. It's a lot different than what you charge.
Yeah. I mean, the vitamin C, I already know my girls have come to me. It's probably like, I don't know, maybe like $20, $10 a gram or something, or more than that. It's at least $10 a gram. So it comes out to be, if you want to do 10 grams, it's like $100 more. It's not cheap. I mean, it's not as bad. I don't really do 10 grams with anybody. I've got Dr. Balbino is doing, 70 grams of vitamin C, and I've seen that done in some of the study protocols that they had, results on, and it works. And I'm using it in Myers cocktails primarily for my Dapsone patients because I want to keep the levels down on the meth hemoglobin. But I mean, there's more than enough data to show that high doses of vitamin C work as a free radical too, but it's expensive. It's expensive. Even for us, it's expensive. A vial is like $100. I get a couple, 3-4 doses out of that. So,
Can I
so,
ask a question?
yeah.
This is Jacqueline. Speaking of vitamin C, I've not yet been able to find a liposomal one that does not have sunflower,
Can
which
you
I
find a
can't
powder?
does it have to be liposomal?
No.
So I've been taking additional amounts of other forms of vitamin C, and I would love suggestions if you can recommend anything that doesn't cause my interstitial cystitis to flare. I'm having a really hard time with that when I increase my amount of vitamin C.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're doing the Dapsone, I mean, you don't have to do as much vitamin C. So if it's really bothering you, I would just keep it to a dose you can tolerate right now.
Okay.
Interstitial cystitis is yet another thing, another medical issue that is related to Lyme disease. It's something that is a sleeper. It is not as common by any means as the other issues, but it is related to Lyme.
And it's so aggravated by everything histamine related too.
Bladder is irritated. It's in the lining of your bladder, and everything's going to irritate it. Just like for the people who it's in the lining of their GI tract, and every time I put something in their stomach, it's bothering my stomach. I'm allergic. I can't take it. I've got one like that. I'm like 20 drugs in, and everything bothers her stomach. Some now are getting a little bit better, but still, she's another one that I got to call. She needs to do Dapsone. But yeah.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Doc.
We got 6 more minutes. Anybody have a question? No. Okay.
I was
All right.
thinking about the interstitial cystitis. Is the Klinghardt thing? He thinks that Lyme gets into the bladder, and
Oh yeah, no question.
he does a whole thing with, I don't know what that.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate that 99.9% of all the specialists out there right now, not to mention primary care, have all these things they're treating people for. Interstitial cystitis is in the realm of the OBGYNs and the urologists. And they're like, you don't know, just take, Zyrtec, which is kind of interesting. They put you on antihistamines and wow, sometimes it works. Why is that? Because histamine is raging all over the place and it's quieted down in your bladder. But, we got every rheumatologist. I had a patient who's a rheumatologist and I talked to her yesterday. I'm like, look, you got to listen to me. Half the people in your clinic are not the real deal. All of your ANAs of 1 to 80 with normal SED rates are not, you don't know what it is. It's not lupus, but you don't know what it is. And it's autoimmune Lyme and it's co-infections. I mean, I can't even tell you how many of the neurology clinics cannot be for real. How many are in the pain clinics? How many are in the psych clinics? How many children with autism? Keep on going. Cardiology, how many AFibs are really not Bartonella sitting in the linings of wherever the electrical system is that's being irritated? I mean, it's got to be. We have got too many illnesses that we can't explain, and the prevalence and the increased incidence of all of these things is doubling and tripling in the last 4 or 5 years, and it's related to COVID activating this everywhere. And I got specialists out there who have their head in the sand like an ostrich. They do not want to know, and the infectious disease board
in their box. Everybody's in their box.
Everybody's in their box, but they're in a box to some degree because the infectious disease board will not come clean that this is a real entity. And they will maintain that there is no such thing as chronic Lyme until the cows come home. And they will go down the long COVID, road until the cows come home. They want everything to be related to COVID. It makes a ton of money. It's got great buzzwords. And God forbid it got out, got in the open, that it's not long COVID, it's reactivation of all these organisms, and we're all chronically ill, and it was done intentionally, to reactivate it, and because Big Pharma makes a lot of money, and infectious disease works with Big Pharma. I mean, there's too many books out there that this was biological warfare, and there are too many.
I agree.
We don't have any medicines to treat this, yet we can put HIV into such remission that people don't die at all from it anymore. We can create a COVID vaccine, which was a joke and a half at what it did to people long term. We can create that overnight, but we can't get a decent test for Lyme and co-infection. We can't get a medication to help any of the forms of Lyme. I mean, really? For 40 and 50 years? That's intentional. We all know it's intentional.
Yes.
How do they cure it in the dogs?
Yeah, I know. The dogs don't get it.
Yeah.
The rats, actually, the number one vector is not ticks, it's rats. Rats and mice are the number one vectors spreading this.
I've always wondered why my dog can get a vaccine for Lyme disease and I cannot.
Yep, and they had a vaccine out years ago, 20 years ago, and whether it was too many side effects or whatever happened, they pulled it. They now have one in the pipeline, and they're all going to rage about this is our new cure for Lyme. Oh, by the way, we have, 340 million of 340 million people infected, and everybody's on a different scale of where they're symptomatic, but the vaccine is not going to take into account 20 plus species of Lyme. No. It doesn't do anything for Bartonella, Babesia, tick-borne relapsing fever, tularemia, rickettsia, pick another organism, anaplasma, all of them. I mean, we've got all these organisms in ticks, some of them parasites, and they're not going to be responding to the Lyme vaccine. And Lyme is not necessarily the main culprit in why people are this sick. It's actually Bartonella is worse than Lyme. So, but they have that vaccine for dogs too, apparently. So
yeah. Well, here's another thing. Have you seen that piperacillin? People are starting to treat with that again.
Zosyn, piperacillin IV and Zosyn high dose. The problem is it will only get to one of the stages. It's only going to get to that second stage. We also use amoxicillin for the second phase too. The active growing cyst form. But you're not going to get the spirochete with that. You're not going to get persisters. You're not going to get biofilm. So temporarily people get better because at least one form is being eradicated. But within hours, the other forms are replicating themselves right back to that form. So it becomes a cycle.
I got you.
So it's short term and people will feel sick again the minute we stop. So I think daptomycin was the drug that came out it's been out and it's used for aggressive skin infections because it's got a high skeletal muscle deterioration side effect where you can go into rhabdo, but they will not give us that. It is restricted to infectious disease because of its side effects and ICU usage. And the ID guys are like, hell no, we're not putting our hands on it. And
Oh,
it's so off-label that if something goes wrong, we'll lose our license from it. So, most of us are not willing to take that on. Although I have one patient who got their hands on it through Dr. Hartman way back. And it did help a lot of her cardiac symptoms. But I mean, it's the only drug we have that's IV that we know of that'll get to persisters.
which one?
Daptomycin.
So what, the Roseftin, or what is it? The Roseftin
Roseftin's
that
gonna
as
be,
as an
yeah,
IV? Because like I had that before I got to you. I had the midline, and that's what the
right,
infectious disease doctor put me on
correct.
for
Yeah.
my
Well,
positive test.
Herceptin is like a cephalosporin, which is equal to rifampin in the case that it works on the cystic growing, active growing round body. So you got Herceptin and amoxicillin, which is penicillin. You got a cephalosporin. Those are all the ones that are going to work on that second phase. The only thing that's working on the first phase, the spirochete, is doxycycline and the azithromycin, clarithromycin phase, minocycline. The cyclines and the mycins. Then you got the second phase, which is the penicillin, the piperacillin, zosyn, one, amoxicillin, rifampin, cephalosporin, and then you got the persisters. The only drug we got with methylene blue works on that middle phase too. We hoped it would work on persisters. It doesn't. We got disulfiram, and we've got in the antibiotic world Dapsone. The herbals have had a lot of promise with getting to all of the phases. I have not seen anyone who's super sick like some of you guys take herbals for a year and get anywhere. I think they probably work much better for people who are milder. They were going to require you to take them for a year or more. And the question is, will they get to the persister phase that deep? They do get good tissue penetration. They do get CNS penetration, nervous system. But I just haven't seen anybody tell me, wow, I went from being debilitated in a wheelchair and paralyzed on herbals to recovery. I am seeing that on Dapsone. I got my one in the wheelchair who's moving, finally, on Dapsone.
So you're one of the wheelchair. Was that person like diagnosed with MS or something?
She was diagnosed with multi-system atrophy, atypical Parkinson's.
Darn.
All wrong. And I told the story a million times. She's 77. She's been a patient of mine for 25 years. I was at the Lyme conference of listening to this lecture about how the neurological symptoms rarely get better, even with treatment. And I said, pull up her labs. I was sitting at the conference. I texted. They pulled up the labs and all 3 organisms. So I've been treating her for a year, just shy of a year. She got substantially, she got better. She was paralyzed, 6-7 years of this progressing, paralyzed. Neurologist told her pretty much done. I started on the antibiotics for all 3 organisms. 6 months later, she got much better. She was moving at least. Got a bad UTI with Pseudomonas of all things, resistant to almost everything. Got her back from that, and then we lost ground. She started to pick up ground. She got back to where she was before, right before I started Dapsone. And her movement was probably about 10 to 20 seconds minimum for her to think herself to move all over the place.
Oh.
Very, very slow movement. Hands that she could not open, especially the left. I put her on Dapsone. After 1 treatment of Dapsone, I said, raise your hands. Bam. Give me a high five. Bam. Kick your legs. Moving. March. Moving. And quick. I mean, immediate reaction time, where it was good 20-second delay. So we just finished up right now. She's about to see me probably this week. The first pulse after she did 9 weeks. And she's got blood counts that let her get through 2 weeks of Dapsone at a time. So she's going 2 weeks off the first, 2 weeks off the second. What a difference. I mean, they held her hands, and usually they have to really assist her to get up. And before you know it, she popped right up. They didn't know what to do. They were just like, they were stupefied, and she can't roll over in bed. She can't move. She's laying on her back. About 3 weeks ago, she literally picked up her leg and turned herself. This is all brand new. She can now feed herself. She's clearer when she talks. All she could do was mumble. We couldn't hear her. I was actually typing at the computer with her talking behind me, and I could understand what she was saying. I mean, dramatic improvement from before Dapsone. I mean, I got her moving, but not like this. So she's my success story. And then I've got one who's not on Dapsone. He's been 6 months with me now, only using Roseftin shots, injectable, oral minocycline and azithromycin. He's on no biofilm busters, no methylene blue, because he rages. He definitely has pandas. He's got it in his brain, in the emotional system. So he's screaming and yelling half the time, writhing in legs, in bed, moving all over the place. When he's still, when he sleeps, or he's, if he sits, he's not. And when he actively engages, all that movement stops. But when he rests, it comes back. Well, he couldn't get out of bed until about a month ago. He was just starting to get out of bed. He walked into my office the other day. He had a walker, but we have video of him actually getting up and just going and walking. He felt like his limbs were detached, kind of like one of those dolls where everything bends and comes. He was all over the place. He couldn't feel anything attached to him. He says everything is coming back together. He can now write. He can now go to the bathroom by himself. He's in the shower, taking care of himself. He's shaving. He's putting his clothes on. I mean, he couldn't do any of this 6 months ago. And I didn't even get him the Dapsone yet. And just with Recefin and a couple of antibiotics and the supplements, and he's getting Recefin injections because he doesn't have insurance and he couldn't get out of that bed. He couldn't get in. And I mean, screaming in pain. The pain is gone. Is he? No way is he done. I got to get him to Dapsone or this is coming back. But I mean, right now, when we add just small doses of methylene blue, he's screaming and yelling and raging in pain. So it's going to be a very slow go for him to get on some of the other stuff. And once I see he can tolerate it, we'll move to Dapsone to put him into remission. But we're seeing huge improvements. But I mean, I think he's on some herbals too, to be honest with you. So I mean, before I even, because I can tell you what I'm taking, before I even get people to Dapsone, I do everything that we discussed, but I also put them on herbals. I mean, I'm running myself at 7 herbals, 3 antibiotics, 4 biofilm busters, God knows how many supplements, methylene blue, all of it's running. And I don't have any pain. It broke about 6 months ago when I started literally putting everything on board and increasing the herbals I had. I added minocycline. I've just added rifampin. And I am good right now. I'm afraid to stop, to be honest with you, because I don't know what's going to happen. That's why I wanted to do Dapsone at one point. But I put 7 herbals on board, especially if you got all the organisms. So, I mean, I take Cryptolepis at the max dose, which is 5 droppers 2 or 3 times a day. I take cat's claw, Japanese knotweed, Chinese skullcap, alcornia, Sida acuta, because the last 2 are for babesia. I take black walnut a little bit. What else did I start recently? There's something else I threw in there recently too. So I take about Hitunia, which is more of an anti-inflammatory. I brought that on board. So I'm taking everything because
Do you do Cryptolepis too?
I do 6 droppers twice a day because I can never get to the 3rd dropper the 3rd time. Yeah. I mean, I'll tell you everything I tolerated really well, except the Cryptolepis. When I got up to 3 droppers twice a day, within 3 or 4 hours, I felt the pain. I'm like, this is impressive. All the pain came back. And then it would subside over 3 or 4 days. Then the next week I went up, felt it again. Then went up to 5, felt it again. And then it just stopped and I was able to level off. But I mean, there is a reality to this. There are people who can't get through 3 or 4 drops of this stuff and they are herxing all over the place. I mean, I watched one patient literally start with her hands going into claws involuntarily after 3 drops of Cryptolepis. I mean, 3 drops. Insane.
Can it make your feet numb?
It can do anything. It's gonna
cut back already.
Right. Yeah. It's because wherever that organism is, it's being killed and then the body's inflamed around it. And if it's in those nerves in your feet, yeah, that's what's happening.
Small fiber neuropathy is Bartonella in your feet, basically,
Correct.
right?
Correct. So anywhere that you feel something happening, one of those organisms is enraged because you're killing it. And your body's going to respond with inflammation at that area. So it's a funky way of knowing, oh, well, we know where you are today and where we are in the body because where it is in the body, because that's where you're going to show your symptoms. I think we've seen parts of the body react that we've never even knew existed. I mean, this kind of crap that's going on with pandas and the kids mostly, and why it's mostly kids. And it was the boy I just told you, man, that I just walked in, he's 35. But why the children are so susceptible for it to be in their amygdala and their hippocampus, which is the center of emotion and autism. It's all there. And that's why it's focusing in on the kids. Almost always it goes to their brains like that. And they're being diagnosed with autism, bipolar, schizophrenia, oppositional defiance disorder, ADD. These are things, with the exception of ADD, that cannot even be manifested until you're in your late teens to early 20s, especially schizophrenia and bipolar. And they're labeling kids at age 6. They're calling things latent autism at the age of 7 and 9. I mean, this is insanity. My skater looked like she was autistic at 20. They would have called her latent autism if they had a chance. But it's just ridiculous that we have not, agreed that this is what's going on. And it's transmitted in utero on top of it. So mothers are giving it to the babies right away in that first trimester. It's going right through.
So there's nothing with the MMR or that sends it over the edge.
No. None of these vaccines are the sole culprit for autism. Tylenol is definitely not the culprit for autism. if anyone had half a brain. I can't believe he even accepted that, because somebody gave him 28 studies that were completely created by someone in the deep state. I mean, I am convinced somebody made that crap up. But I mean, there are too many kids with autism in the last 10 years. So something has happened in the last 10 years. In the last 5, it's been COVID. So, I mean, there are too many kids. I mean, in vitro is sitting up there, I'm sure, when we mess around with, cells. I'm sure there may be some vaccine situations, but most of this is infection being transmitted in utero, or kids that are getting bitten in the grass by something at the ages of 2 or 3. It takes 2 or 3 years for the nervous system to become impacted. And then all of a sudden, my child is completely normal one day and abnormal the next. And that's autism. It took 2 years or 7 years to show up. I mean, where are the scientists and the doctors on this? I mean, it doesn't even make sense. It's disgusting. It's disgusting to see my colleagues are this brain dead with IQs of 140 and better. I mean, it's just, but it is what it is. They've been brainwashed and they believe it. They don't want to think out of the box. So,
I have a question. Another question. This is all really interesting, by the way. It's interesting to hear you laying this stuff out and thinking through it out loud. That's really helpful. When you're doing the treatments, and even before that, you were talking to me when I was in the office about how a lot of symptoms could be Herxheimer's. Once you start treatments, is there a differentiation, or is there a way to tell where something is a Herxheimer reaction versus like some other side effect?
Yeah, I mean, not 100%. No, I mean, honestly, you go off of experience and intuition on this one. Like I said, we've falsely accused most of the antibiotics of all the GI toxicity that we're seeing. I think we are seeing GI toxicity, but I don't think all the nausea and vomiting is necessarily related to the antibiotics themselves. I think that's Herx. I would say really almost everything is a Herx when we do these antibiotics and everything. I can't tell you how many people have come in and said, every time I take that antibiotic, I have a headache. And in retrospect, I'm thinking, it wasn't a side effect. It was probably a Herx, and we didn't know you had Lyme, So is there a way? For sure, no. I kind of take it symptom by symptom and see what's realistic. Do I disregard chest pain and severe shortness of breath? No, because it may be a Herx, but at the same time, if the organisms are sitting in your pulmonary and your cardiovascular system, we can induce a Herx within the electrical system of the heart. We can induce a Herx in lots of different places that can cause real stuff, so you have to kind of, when I tell people, if you're severely short of breath or you're having some kind of cardiac thing, you got to go to the ER. It's got to be checked out, because I can't tell you that we haven't caused that with a Herx.
That's primarily what I'm wondering about, since I have so many lung issues already, which now I think are probably Lyme's after talking to you, or whichever tick-borne illness.
Probably
yeah, the babesia. But I do what you were saying about the pulse ox and not paying attention to that when you're in dapsone. I'm already on oxygen all day. I have to monitor my whatever. So I know I'm going to get Herxheimer, I'm sure. I'm just concerned about my ability, or our ability, to differentiate between, no, this is normal and expected, just gut it out, just do your supportive therapies, versus, no, you should go to the ER right now.
I tell people, I mean, anything severe, you're going to the ER. And just at least they can check you out and say, we have found nothing, in which case we know it's a Herx, which that's going to be shortness of breath, heart, chest pain, severe palpitations, passing out. I mean, really passing out, not just a POTS kind of situation. I mean, those are your biggies. I mean, I guess if you're seizing, you got to go to the emergency room. I mean, we know Lyme can cause seizures, but that doesn't mean I don't treat seizures with a medication to stop it, and not say, okay, well, it's seizure.
Right.
You cause damage. You can have a heart attack. You can have, AFib go into something severe like heart failure. So anything that is severe enough that you think, I don't feel like I should be here, your intuition will let you know.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's really helpful. And I have, my husband is, he's a Navy medical provider. He's an independent duty corpsman. So the basic stuff he's one of those people that triages, no, really, you should go to the ER.
If you feel like I'm having an impending doom situation, you go.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. No, I was worried about that, like where the line is, but that's really clarifying. So thank you.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I have a high threshold to send you guys to the emergency room, because so many times you go and it's like, here she comes again, and everything is negative. But my threshold for chest pain, shortness of breath, severe palpitations, passing out, seizing, that's a 0 threshold. You go. They got to
Yeah.
treat symptoms at that point.
It is hard to differentiate. Like, the other gentleman was saying between POTS, this dysautonomia symptoms we already have, and then Herxheimer, which is why I tend to just try to gut things out. But when they get as severe as what you're talking about,
You got
I'll
to
let
get
my
it.
husband know. That's the line. There's the line.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, crushing chest pressure. Like I said, it could very well be a Herx, but we know that we can induce, we're going to flare up Bartonella. And we know Bartonella is in the cardiovascular system. So if Bartonella happens to be in your electrical cardiovascular system, I don't know. I mean, it could cause something bad, by pissing it off. It could also cause something bad by us doing nothing. I mean, I can't tell you, I've got
Right.
people who have pacemakers. I got more people on Eliquis and atrial fibrillation medication because we don't know where their AFib comes from. It's constantly, we don't know why it happens, especially in young people. In older people, we know over 85, we see it pretty commonly, but not young people. So when we're seeing all this AFib under 70, it's like, what's really going on? We're bleeding people everywhere. It's probably Bartonella it's in the electrical system.
It makes so much sense. It
Yeah,
really, honestly, like, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I want to cry because this like ties all the pieces together of all my many, many, many health issues.
Yeah.
It makes so much sense from so many perspectives, especially knowing I've had a family that's always been hikers, campers, outdoorsers since before I was born. So
I mean, I think this is a lot of people. It's the aha moment goes on when you read Dr. Ross's website or you get to someone who knows what they're talking about with Lyme. It's like, you can't have this many symptoms and not have something tie it together. We were taught in medical school, when you got this many different parts of the body going wrong, it's psychosomatic, it's in their head. And to this day, most doctors are still living in medical school, what they teach us 40 years ago. And they are still teaching that to this day, because I got kids that are in medical school that I know through my kids, and they are still being taught. I mean, they're sending me the questions they're being given on tests. They're sending me their lectures, which is still teaching the same thing we were taught 50, 40 years ago. It's all in your head. Fibromyalgia, the treatment, cognitive behavior therapy, learn to live with it.
yeah, like the insomnia, they keep trying to send me back to like CBT I'm like, I've done all the CBT, the psychiatrist, psychologist, they said I've done everything absolutely possible. I'm a model patient and it's still not resolved. So what is it, guys?
I had a patient with severe refractory insomnia, and she was on 20 milligrams of Valium at night to sleep, 3 milligrams of Lunesta, 75 milligrams of amitriptyline, and I think something else. And she is now down to 5 milligrams of Valium, 3 milligrams of Lunesta, and about 25 milligrams of amitriptyline.
Awesome.
And she can sleep. She was labeled with something called mal-de-Bacremont by the neurologist at Mayo, who's the head of neurology there. And that disease only exists in their head, I believe, because it's probably all but it exists in young people, strategically young people. And she's 65. She never fit the whole thing in the first place. And she came in, she was swaying down the hall like a sailboat. I mean, it was ridiculous, banging into the walls, dizzy. She's a singer. She couldn't sing. After 6 months of treatment, all 3 organisms. I can't treat her for babesia because she's intolerant to a couple of the medicines. I mean, really intolerant. And she is singing. She is walking. She has no more dizziness. Her, sleep is dramatically improved. She walked into the neurologist office and he said, wait a minute, you can't be cured. You can't be fixed. Mal-de-Bacremont, which I'd never heard of and had to look up when I met her. She goes, that's not curable. She goes, it's because I don't have that. She said, I have Lyme, Bartonella, and babesia, and his jaw dropped. He's asked for all of her records, but Mayo, if you buck the system with Lyme and you're on their staff or whatever, they literally tell you, don't do it or we'll fire you. I'm not kidding you. They will tell you, do not bring this up. We do not discuss this. If you get a halfway decent doctor over there that would be in your best interest, they tell you, I'm not sure. You very well may have Lyme. We just don't treat this here. But they don't tell you no out of the get-go. I have a patient with Lyme, Bartonella, and babesia, all lit up like a Christmas tree on IGeneX. She went to Mayo. She didn't believe me. She was labeled with ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, told to get her affairs in order, refused to listen to me and at least give her a try on IV antibiotics. They told her to get her affairs in order, and she will not come back to me. She's going to die. And she probably has Lyme causing sickening. Yep. I have one I'm treating with IV antibiotics right now with Bulbar, which I've never seen. It's 1 in 100,000. That was a guess I took, and I was pretty accurate. It's 1 in 100,000 patients will get Lou Gehrig's with upper body only. His lower body walks around fine, but upper body can't swallow, can barely talk. But yeah, but he has positive blood work too. I think a lot of Lou Gehrig's patients do. And we fix it. I don't know.
In regards to how you're talking about how the doctors don't diagnose this as well, do you find that, I know you're an MD, but do you find that DOs are taught more to look at that than MDs as to, because you guys, they're taught different, right?
They are, but still the
one's
tablet
like
that has been filtered through everything is that Lyme is not a chronic illness. They probably would treat it herbally and whatnot, and in different ways, more of an integrated medicine approach. But that doesn't mean they bought into Lyme being a chronic illness. No.
Oh.
No, because I got a lot of specialist friends that are DOs, and they're not sending me tons of patients. They're not going down that path. And they also look at me like I have 9 heads. I got one of the internists in Jacksonville. He never sends any patients with Lyme. He's not treating anybody. They don't know. I don't think they're being taught anywhere about this because it's hush hush.
They have funding it themselves.
Well, that's an issue.
Yeah.
I'm very shocked that there's not one politician in all of 400 and however many 436 Congress people, how many senators, how come nobody has this illness that it's coming out? Or do they, and they're being told it's something else?
Oh, probably.
They don't know, or they're told to shut their mouths. I mean, Justin Bieber has it. Avril Lavigne has it.
Bella Hadid.
Yep, Melody. There are a lot of stars that have this.
They're all doing their treatment in Germany.
But yeah, it's the only country in the entire world other than the United States that will acknowledge this and treat. Not anywhere else in Europe. In fact, I have a friend who lives in Malta, and his sister-in-law, I'm sure she has Lyme. She has fibromyalgia, fatigue, pain, the whole 9 yards. I sent her to get tested over there. Of course, they do an IFA. They don't even do the basic Western blot. Gets told it's negative. She goes, yeah, but I have a lot of symptoms, and I have a friend who says she's concerned about this as a physician. He said, we are done with this conversation. Do not bring this up anymore. Do not go there. He said, do not go there. This was in Malta. I mean, even in Europe, this is the mantra. Do not bring it up. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Crazy.
It's ridiculous. And Germany is the only one that is treating. And I mean, I have German ancestry. I know a lot of my friends and some family in Germany. I'm yet to get back there and get one of my colleagues who's actually in rheumatology to go the distance with me and get me into some of these medical. I mean, I studied in one for a couple of months there, so I got to go up to Hanover Hochschule Hanover and see if they'll let me watch. I wouldn't mind going over there and walking around for a couple of hours. They all speak English, so my German's not good enough to get me by. So, yeah,
they do stem cells too.
I'm sure they do. They do that down in Mexico. That's where one of my patients went, but nothing's working. I don't think stem cells are the answer to this. It's an infection. I don't think it's going to do a whole lot.
Can I ask a question about what would happen with a blood transfusion?
To you or to somebody else?
To me.
It's not going to work because this is buried in your tissue. It's just going to be a blood transfusion. It's in your tissue.
I mean,
yeah, it's in your tissue. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure I know that's been out there, but you can transfuse all you want. It's not in your bloodstream. That's the problem. It's the fact that it's buried in your brain tissue, in your centrals, in your cerebrospinal fluid. It's in your joints. You're not going to touch it.
Okay.
Right. In Germany, they've heated up the body to 107. They keep your head out, which is really nice of them. And I don't know how long they do it. But I mean, the problem is it's in tissue, so you can burn off everything in the bloodstream. We know Lyme will decompose, so to speak, deactivate at 102.5 degrees. But I mean, even at 107, you can kill off all the blood, where it is in the blood, but you're not going to kill it in tissue. You're going to kill the tissue before you kill the organism. There is a temperature in which the body's not going to tolerate that with its organ systems. So it's stupid. I mean, you're never going to get it. I'll tell you, the radio frequency and the magnetism probably has a better chance because it is targeting that specific organism in every single tissue. And the sound wave will go right through it and go right where it is. There is a medication that I've seen that they're out, and it's in trial. Who knows where it is at this point, but it is targeted specifically at the tail of the spirochete to deactivate it so that it cannot burrow. And you would give that medication almost immediately or even down the line so the spirochete cannot burrow into tissue where we cannot reach it. that doesn't stop all the other forms that it's already replicated itself into. So you got those issues. But at least if you got bitten early on, instead of giving somebody doxycycline for 6 weeks, you could give them that medicine, and at least you'd stop the spirochete from getting there, you know? And then you could hit the other antibiotics at the same time and prevent the tissue penetration. It's the tissue penetration that's a problem. So they're working on it if the FDA would ever approve something like that, because they're trying desperately not to approve anything. You know, nothing that's going to fix people. They make a lot of money off of treating a lot of symptoms and illnesses that don't really exist.
Do you think within the next 5 years that this will be mainstream treated?
I don't know.
Or will still...
I thought this 10 years ago. I said, for sure. When Justin Bieber got it, I thought, we're going to get answers. And nothing happened. I'd love to say yes, but we got a huge underground railroad, so to speak, a underground system that is, you know, vested in not getting this out. It's vested in not treating it. Big pharma, even though they make money off of this little stuff, is making more money off of huge dollar Alzheimer's drugs, lupus drugs. I mean, how many Tremfyas and Symvias and Remicades and all this do we have out there for 10,000 a pop a month? They're not going to let that crap dry up. So I don't know how we're going to have, you know, look at how much the antibiotics cost. Look at how much the medicine would probably cost to treat Lyme. They're not going to make any money off of this. They're not.
That's it.
Yeah.
Right there.
They're making way more money off of all these little symptoms, allergy medicine, stomach medicine, restless leg medicine, keep on going for every symptom we have. I mean, they make more money off of Lyme or off of HIV drugs, I mean, than they do anything else. So, you know, if they can invent a really expensive drug, then maybe they'll do it. The only way they're going to make it. I don't know why there isn't invested interest to make $1 million drug for this. Somebody create a really expensive drug. It's the only way we're getting it cured. You know, I mean, even tefenoquine is not a cheap drug, yet we can't get our hands on it most of the time. They will not let us have it to treat babesia. Yet the drug companies, $80 a month, but it's not $10,000 a month. You know, Tremfya, $5,000-$6,000 a month.
Is that why we get it from the same place we get the methylene blue?
Yeah, it's the only place we can get it from. We cannot get it anywhere else. SmithKline had Crintafel out, which was the treatment dose for Plasmodium vivax, which is the parasite. And I tried to get that thing. It came out. It was all over the internet. All of us were using it for babesia. And then in about a year, it dried up. We couldn't get it anywhere. We called the company, I think it's Glaxo, indefinitely back ordered. For 2 years, we've never seen it again. But now we've got Arikota, which is the brand name for tefenoquine. That is the prevention dose, not the treatment that Glaxo had. So somehow, because Arikota is a small company, they were able to keep it in play, whereas Glaxo, somebody shut it down. It had to have been shut down. Why would you get rid of the treatment dose, but we still have the prevention dose? That doesn't make any sense. What are we treating malaria with acutely? The other one? The prevention. So something's up. I mean, these big pharma companies are politically connected, whereas the smaller ones, it doesn't matter. They're not getting funding from everywhere. You know, so
that makes sense.
Yeah, there was something to that one. I'm like, Jesus, it just disappeared. Honestly, had I not gone to the Lyme conference and I had babesia myself at this point, I'm like, what am I going to do? We can't get this drug. And two nurse practitioners said, oh yeah, Infuserve has it. It's the prevention dose. I marched over there in less than 5 seconds to say, where can I get this drug? And started immediately using it. But then, you know, then we found out, you know, tefenoquine alone isn't going to do it. We're seeing resistance. I got to use tefenoquine and the old drug, atovaquone, which we are resistant to. But if you use them in combination, everybody so far that I've treated, including myself with the combination, has gotten rid of it.
Yep.
At least for now. Yeah. But if you don't use Malarone, which is atovaquone, in addition to tefenoquine at the same time for at least 3 months of adding the atovaquone in, it will not go away. It will stay.
Does that work across all the different species of babesia too?
As of now, the ones that we can check for, which is only 2. You know, IGeneX only do 2. Now, if you do Vibrant, you'll see more species divergence will show up. Oda coli, I don't think they've got yet. Oda coli is probably the #1 species right now, but we don't have any test that calls it out, and it cross-reacts with Duncani. So we think a lot of the Duncani is actually Oda coli, which is brought in by birds. We think it's birds that are migrating right now that is causing a lot more of the babesia that we're seeing. and maybe some of the other things too, but it's migration of birds. It's not, we brought it from one country to the next. It's bird migration. Everywhere, especially in Europe. So they're migrating all over the place. And then we got these ridiculous geese. I wouldn't doubt they're part of it. All the geese that have come to Jacksonville. I don't know. I almost hit one the other day. Good God. All of a sudden there he was. I'm like, oh, this disgusting bird all over the front of my car. And then feel terrible forever, even though there's a million of them to replace it. But all right. Well, we've gone over by half an hour, but we're still going to do these regularly. And I think during the DAP zone week, I may be doing them every week to get you guys through this. But, you know, and the more DAP zone people who have done the protocol or whatnot, who can come on and coach the others through and hopefully give us success stories, makes it easier to go through this for sure.
Thank you, Doc. Appreciate it. And also to the rest of you for being here and sharing your experiences and questions.
All
Yeah,
right.
I want to thank the doc for everything you're doing and all your research and everything. I think you're pretty awesome.
Thank you. Well, you guys are going to get through it. We'll get through it. So, all right. So I'll see probably most of you next month, which will be the second week of January, which will be after the first week. A lot of you will be going through DAP. So like I said, there's over 20 at this point and probably more by then. So we'll be doing it that first Monday. And based on how bad off you all are, we'll basically keep doing it every week. I might have to do it every Monday. We'll see. Support. But all right, guys, take care and I'll see you in the office.
Thank you.
Take care.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Gotta get myself off.